Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet.
Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Westerns with a side order of crime on this edition of Classic Radio Theater on this Monday. Episodes of The Roy Rogers Show from 70 years ago, Gunsmoke from 68 years ago, Fort Laramie also from 68 years ago, and the FBI in Peace and War from 68 years ago. No, we're not going to do a news segment today unless I get the urge to in a moment. And an episode of Claudia from 76 years ago. That's all straight ahead on this Monday. This is the 22nd day of July, the 204th day of the year, 162 days till we get to 2025. Albany, New York, formally chartered as a municipality in 1686 by Governor Thomas Donegan. Also in 1796, surveyors of the Connecticut Land Company name an area in Ohio, Cleveland, after General Moses Cleveland, the superintendent of the surveying party in 1796. In 1933, Wiley Post became the first person to fly solo around the world, traveling 15,596 miles in 7 days, 18 hours, and 45 minutes. Outside Chicago's Biograph Theater on this date in 1934, Public Enemy No. 1 John Dillinger mortally wounded by FBI agents. In 1937, the Senate voted down President Roosevelt's proposal to add more justices to the Supreme Court. That decision that a lot of Democrats were peddling recently was not something recent. It goes all the way back to 1937. In 1942, the government began compulsory civilian gas rationing due to wartime demands. And one has to wonder today, as I've said many times, could we win a war the way we won World War II? Would people be willing to sacrifice? One doesn't know. On this date in 1963, the BBC broadcast the first hit single from Those Lads from Liverpool.
Love me do, oh, love me do. Love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please, love me do. Oh, love me do. Yeah, love me do.
It would be another year before the song, topping out at number 17 in the UK, would smash atop the US charts. The Beatles' Love Me Do, first airing on radio on this date in 1963. Near Medellin, Colombia on this date in 1992, drug lord Pablo Escobar escaped from luxury prison, fearing extradition to the U.S. And in 2003, members of the 101st Airborne, aided by special forces, attacked a compound in Iraq, killing Saddam Hussein's sons Uday and Qusay, along with Mustafa Hussein, Qusay's 14-year-old son, and a bodyguard. Passing away on this date in history, James Whitcomb Riley, author and poet, theatrical producer Florence Ziegfeld, Ziegfeld's Follies, inventor and radio pioneer Reginald Pheasant, bank robber John Dillinger, also poet Carl Sandburg, Dwayne Jones, who starred as Ben in the 1968 classic Night of the Living Dead, the Marlboro Man, Wayne McLaren, passing away on this date, and Sophia on the Golden Girls, Estelle Getty, all those folks passing away on this date in history. Among birthdays on this date, Bob Dole.
Well, I can talk, but I can't hear, can't walk too well, but otherwise I'm in great shape. Can't see either, but so I haven't heard a thing that anybody said, so if I repeat something, why, let me know. I thought this would be a good place to announce my candidacy for president. Some people thought I should wait till I got a little older, but anyway, I still want to recount, but that, probably won't happen.
Bob Dole did have a sense of humor in his later years. Bob Dole, born on this date in history, along with the man behind Spoonerisms, priest and scholar William Archibald Spooner. One of the things, it is customary to cuss the bride. Customary to kiss the bride. Flipping those words around like that. Somebody who was great at it was Norm Crosby. But William Archibald Spooner, born on this date in history. The matriarch of the Kennedy family, Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy. Also, etiquette Arthur Amy Vanderbilt. The fabulous Moolah Lillian Ellison. Pro wrestler, born on this date. Singer Margaret Whiting. Alex Trebek, born on this date. Pro wrestler David Von Erich of the cursed Von Erich family. Great wrestling family, but they all died tragic deaths. And also born on this date, Orson Bean.
Joke telling is an art. The joke should be short and always told in the present tense. An example. An old guy goes for a checkup. The doctor says, Mr. Mendelsohn, we'll need a sample of your urine, your feces, and your sperm. He says, take my shorts.
Believe it or not, I told that joke when I was getting blood drawn the other day. The tragic ending of Orson Bean, killed while crossing the street. It was a horrible situation. Passing away, 4 years ago. He was 91 years old. A funny, funny man. Born on this date in history.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
A teen idol turns 81 years old today. From the television show Here Comes the Brides, Bobby Sherman, 81 today.
1970, Julie, 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 do you love me? Ah, Julie, 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 do you care? Come on, Julie, Julie, are you thinking of me? Julie, will you still be there? Oh, Julie.
Got as high as number 5 on the pop charts, number 2 on the easy listening charts. Julie, Do You Love Me? Bobby Sherman, 81 years old today. Also celebrating birthdays today, Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, for which she got a Best Actress Oscar. Louise Fletcher, 88. Actor Terrence Stamp is 86. From Parliament Funkadelic, George Clinton, 83 today. Actor Danny Glover is 78. Don Henley of the Eagles is 77. Actor William Dafoe is 69. Sid in the Ice Age movies, John Leguizamo is 64. Singer Keith Sweat is 63. From Silk Stockings and Melrose Place, Rob Estes is 61. Comedian David Spade is 60. Pro wrestler, now coach, Shawn Michaels, 59 years old, doing quite the job in WWE's NXT. The Maytag man, Colin Ferguson, is 52. The son of Loudon Wainwright III, the man who sang about the dead skunk, Rufus Wainwright, is 51. From Criminal Minds, A.J. Cook is 46. Singer-actress Selena Gomez is 32. And comedian Albert Brooks turns 77 today.
All right, please be quiet. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of you. We got to get through it please be quiet. Very quickly, sit down at the piano, state your name, where you're from, play your song, all right? Don't give us any please be quiet. Don't give us any titles. We'll call them all the anthem. If we like it, we'll get your title from you later, okay? State your name, where you're from, play your song. We'll stop you when we've heard enough. Let's go quickly. You're first. First. Ted Rutherford, Dallas, Texas. at us. We're the greatest. We're the... Thank you very much. Dan Allen, Denver, Colorado. "3,000 miles from coast to coast, every citizen has reason to boast." Thank you. Thank you.
A very funny bit. Albert Brooks, 77 years old today. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 22nd day of July as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
And we start out a very Western-heavy episode of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of The Roy Rogers Show from 70 years ago, July 22nd, 1954, and The River of No Return. That's coming up next on this Monday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Congress is poised to pass a bill to keep AM radio in cars, but time is running out. 82 million Americans risk losing the news, sports, talk, traffic, and vital emergency information they rely on. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to pass this bill now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
And on this Monday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Roy Rogers, Dale Evans in an episode of their show from 70 years ago, July 22nd, 1954, The River of No Return.
Happy trails to you.
The dependable Dodge Plymouth dealer in your neighborhood, the man who sells and services the elegant new 54 Dodge, presents The Roy Rogers Radio Show. Yes, folks, it's the Roy Rogers Radio Show for the whole family. Adventure, suspense, mystery, and music. Starring Roy Rogers, King of the Cowboys, and Dale Evans, Queen of the West, with Pat Brady, the Mellow Man, and an all-star cast. And now, here to greet you with the song and the story, are Roy and Dale.
There is a river called the River of No Return. Well, good evening, folks. Greetings to the whole family. I guess most of you recognize that song we were singing. Actually, there really is a river of no return. It's the Salmon River up in the Idaho country. And a while back, Dale and Pat and me were up there on a fishing trip. Now, I don't want this to sound like a typical fish story, but take it from me, the rainbow trout up there run as big as the biggest trout that ever got away. And the little town of Tanner, where we stayed, well, it's like something right out of the Old West. All those stories you've read and the movies you've seen about feuds and gunfights on the street, well, there are still places where they actually happen. Places like Tanner, where the people have their own peculiar brand of law and order and their own ideas of right and wrong. Well, it was just about sundown when we pulled into town. We got Trigger all bedded down, and while Pat was checking us into the hotel, Dale and I went over to the general store to get our fishing license for the next day. Oh, here's the general store.
Howdy.
Hi.
I do. Help you folks?
Yes, we'd like to get 3 fishing licenses, please.
Mm-hmm. You're non-residents, ain't you?
That's right. I'm Roy Rogers, and this is Dale Evans.
Oh, how do you do?
We met up with a fellow a while back who lives here, and he told us the rainbow really run big around these parts.
Well, that all depends on who was doing the telling.
Tom Dillon was his name. We met him on location while we were making...
Tom Dillon?
That's right.
Did I understand you right? You say your name is Roy Rogers?
Yes.
You sure you came up here to fish?
Well, yes.
Hmm. You sure you didn't come up here to revenge Tom?
Revenge?
What do you mean?
Tom Dillon's dead.
Dead?
There must be some mistake. Well, we just saw him last week. He was in perfect health.
No mistake, ma'am. We buried him this morning.
Oh, what did he die of?
Holes in his chest, the kind of 45 makes.
In just a moment, Roy and Dale will return with part one of a story that happened near the River of No Return. Now, folks, here are the Mellow Men.
There's a better deal for the man at the wheel of a Dodge top-rated truck. It delivers the goods anytime, anywhere.
Choose the 6 or V8, you've got power to spare.
Dodge is rugged and handsome, it's all brand new. Dodge is priced so low, you say. There's a better deal for the man at the wheel of a Dodge top-rated truck. Drive it today.
It's a fact. There is a better deal for the man at the wheel with new Dodge job-rated trucks. New Dodge trucks now offer the world's most efficient engines, modern Power Dome V8s. No other comparable V8 truck engine equals the Dodge truck Power Dome V8 for high power, efficiency, and money-saving operation. Its unique dome-shaped combustion chambers give you more miles to the gallon, more power from regular fuel. Stop by at your dependable Dodge truck dealer soon and test a new Dodge truck Power Dome V8 or famous Thrifty 6. And now back to Roy Rogers and Dale Evans in part one of tonight's story.
Now then, if you'll just step over here and sign the license book.
How did it happen, mister?
Cooper's the name. Cy Cooper. How'd what happen?
Tom Dillon. Did somebody murder him?
Hold on now. I never said nothing about no murder. And don't you leave here saying I did. No, sir, it wouldn't be healthy for me.
All right, Mr. Cooper. Then if it wasn't murder, what was it?
Well, now, you might call it a form of suicide.
Suicide?
Tom done a real foolish thing, Miss Evans. He crossed Buck Santee. In these parts, that's the same as putting a gun to your hat band and snapping the hammer.
Well, now, just a minute. Are you telling us that Tom Dillon was killed by Buck Santee in an old-fashioned gunfight?
I don't reckon folks up around these parts would take kindly to hearing you call it old-fashioned, Mr. Rogers. After all, you've built up quite a reputation yourself for being fast with a gun.
But that's in the movies, Mr. Cooper.
You mean you ain't really fast with a gun?
Of course he is. He's one of the fastest men alive.
Uh-huh, that's what I thought. So, naturally, if anybody challenged his rights to be top gun, he'd have to do something about it, wouldn't he?
Well, you mean that that's what happened between Tom Dillon and this Buck Santee?
I reckon you've played the scene often enough in the movies to know, Mr. Rogers. Tom and Buck had words the night before, so they set up an appointment to meet out there in the street the next day. Tom stood at one end on the boardwalk. Buck stood at the other in the middle of the street. Then they started walking toward each other, real slow-like. They kept their hands to their sides, kind of bent out a little, and on top of their guns. They kept walking closer and closer to each other, both waiting for the other one to make the first move. Then, all of a sudden, like I said, it's a form of suicide to try to outdraw the fastest gun in the West.
Roy, it's incredible. I just can't believe that anything like this could happen today.
Mr. Cooper, I suppose you've got something that passes for law and order around here.
We got a sheriff.
Well, where was he while all this was going on?
Fishing.
Well, did he know the fight was going to take place?
Mr. Rogers, I don't think the town folks would take kindly to a stranger coming around and trying to change our ways. We've been getting along all right for a right smart spell. Anybody don't like the way we do things up here, there's only one really smart thing for 'em to do.
What's that?
Get out.
Hi, Bullet. Everything all right, Pat?
Oh, sure. Everything's fine.
Who are your friends, Pat?
Oh, a couple of fans of yours. They want your autograph. I already give them mine.
Gosh, are you really Roy Rogers and Dale Evans?
That's right.
That's right.
Gosh. But you always wear 2 guns, Roy. How come you ain't wearing them?
Well, I just come up here to do a little fishing. Do you think I'll need my guns for that?
No. But I'd sure like to see you use them.
Roy, would you sign your name to me, personal?
Oh, sure. What is it?
Bart McWhirter.
Bart McWhirter. Good luck from Roy Rogers. There you are, Bart. Now, what's your name, son?
Lester Santee.
Santee?
Yeah. My pop's Buck Santee. You reckon he can outdraw you, Roy?
Well, I wouldn't know, Lester.
Boy, I'd sure like to find out. Wouldn't you, Bart?
Yeah, sure would.
Say, Roy, did the man at the general store tell you what kind of bait to use?
No, he didn't, Pat. I guess I got too interested in Tom Dillon.
Yeah. Clerk at the hotel told me Buck Santee is a real tough hombre. I guess he just about runs this town.
And they ought to make him sheriff.
That's what I said. They said he don't want to be sheriff. He just wants to be top gun.
Excuse me, Mr. Rogers. The boy just delivered this note. It's for you.
Thank you.
What is it, Roy? What does it say?
Please leave Tanner tonight. Your life is in danger.
What?
Who's it from?
It isn't signed. Looks like it might be a woman's handwriting.
Roy, I don't like this. Maybe we should leave.
Now, take it easy, Dale. I came up here to fish, and we're going to stay here and fish.
Roy, are you sure this is a spot the man said to try? I ain't even had a nibble.
Well, he said the rapids, and this water is sure rapid.
Yeah. Boy, I'd hate to fall in around here. Hey, Dale, how are you doing?
No luck yet. How about you?
Nothing. I'm going to change to cheese. These salmon eggs ain't getting me nowhere.
I think I'll try that spot over there.
Be careful, Roy. These rocks are slippery.
I will.
Okay, now, little fishies, let's try some of this nice, fresh cheese.
Roy, Dale, I got me one.
Oh, easy, Pat. Plain.
Not too fast, Pat.
I got you now. You big Roy, Dale. The line's caught in the rock. I'm stuck.
You better get into some dry clothes, Pat. You were just lucky you fell in close to shore. If you'd been farther out, those rapids might have carried you clear away.
Oh, well, I never worry about a thing like... Oh, they sure were rapid rapids, weren't they?
Well, here's the hotel. Let's go in.
Roy,
Yeah?
look at this town. The street's practically deserted.
Yeah, I see.
Maybe everybody's gone fishing.
Mr. Rogers? Mr. Rogers?
Yes?
It's Mr. Cooper.
Don't go into the hotel.
Why not?
Buck Santee. He's in there. We're waiting for you.
Well, why? What's he got against Roy?
He's top gun, Miss Evans, and he aims to stay top gun in these parts.
So let him. Roy hasn't challenged him.
It don't matter. Don't you see, Roy? People know you're fast. Leastways, you're fast in the movies. Folks all been speculating on it ever since you got here. Kids are even making bets on it.
Rogers!
That's him. That's Santee inside the hotel.
Come on in, Rogers. I'm waiting for you.
Roy, what are you going to do?
Do? Why, Dale, I'm going in the hotel. See what Mr. Buck Santee has on his mind.
In just a moment, Roy and Dale will return with the second part of tonight's story. Listen carefully. Here's exciting news for you. The big, beautiful 54 Dodge is the lowest priced V8 in its field. Yes, the Dodge V8 gives you more car for your money at the lowest price of any V8 in its field. Take a look at the beautiful new Dodge V8. Note those sleek, long, low, flowing lines. That's real beauty, natural beauty, but better than just looking. Step inside a new Dodge. Now notice all that extra headroom, legroom, and shoulder room. Plenty of space to move around in. Yes, the 54 Dodge is a big car. There's big car power, big car luxury, and best of all, big car value. So remember the exciting news. The Dodge V8 is the lowest priced V8 in its field. Stop in and see the beautiful, long, low 54 Dodge tomorrow. Your friendly Dodge Plymouth dealer is the man to see. And while you're there, if you want a good, dependable used car, see the first choice Roy Rogers specials your Dodge dealer has for you. And now back to Roy Rogers and Dale Evans in part 2 of a story that happened near the River of No Return.
Roy, wait. Don't go in there, please.
I'm not armed, Dale. Buck Santee wouldn't be proving anything by shooting a man who isn't wearing his gun.
But Santee doesn't know that you're not armed.
He'll know it when he sees me.
But maybe he won't wait, Roy. Boy, he's fast. Maybe he'll shoot before he looks.
I'll take that chance. You and Dale wait here, Pat. I'm going in.
Shoot up the pianola. You broke it.
Shut your mouth and get back to your dishes.
Okay, Buck.
I scare you, Rogers? That was what you call a near miss, wasn't it? How come you ain't toting your guns? Where are they at?
I came up here to do a little fishing. My guns are up in my room.
You better get 'em. Next time, I might forget to notice that you ain't wearing 'em.
Do I have to fight you, Santee?
No, you don't have to. You could leave town sudden like, say tonight, like maybe you was afraid of me.
Don't press me, Buck. Don't press me.
Oh, I'm afraid I have to, Rogers. I got nothing against you personal. It's too bad you had to come up here. But now that you did, I'm going to draw against you. I got to draw against you, otherwise people around these parts won't know I'm still Top Gun.
You can be Top Gun, Santee. Tell you what I'll do. When I get back to Hollywood, I'll tell everybody that you're faster on the draw than I am.
Hollywood. I don't care none about Hollywood, Rogers. I care about Tanner. Ain't nothing you can do now. Just you being here's enough. Folks are saying you're faster than me. Even my young'uns are wondering about it.
I see. Well, why not have a shooting match at a target?
No, Roger, no, it wouldn't do. Targets can't draw guns. No, sir, we got no choice except to settle this between ourselves. Now, let me see. I'll give you an hour. Just 1 hour from now, either be at the south end of the street or get out of town.
You're pressing me, Buck.
I mean to, Rogers. I'll be down the north side of Main Street near the drugstore. You either be out of town an hour or you be ready to fight. And if you ain't out of town and you ain't ready to fight, I'm gonna have to kill you.
Well?
I tried to get the sheriff like you said, but he's gone fishing.
Fishing? Every time there's any trouble, the sheriff goes fishing.
Yeah, nobody in town seems to want to fetch him back.
Where's Roy?
Well, he's in his room getting his guns ready.
Oh, Pat, you've got to stop him.
I'll see what I can do. I'll go have a talk with him. I'll see you. Oh, excuse me, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Is this Miss Evans' room?
Yes, I'm Dale Evans.
My name is Eleanor Santee. I'm Buck Santee's wife. May I see you for a minute?
Of course, Mrs. Santee. Come in.
I'll check with you later, Dale.
Okay, Pat.
I suppose you know why I'm here, Miss Evans.
Yes, I think I do.
I've always heard that you were a fine Christian woman, Miss Evans. So I've come to throw myself on your mercy. You've got to help me.
Just what do you want me to do, Mrs. Santee?
Stop those two men from killing each other. I want my husband home, alive.
Don't worry. He'll be alive.
You mean you think Buck will outdraw Roy Rogers?
No, ma'am. But Roy has never killed or shot to kill in his life. He won't do it today. If Roy outdraws your husband, he won't shoot to kill.
Oh, but Miss Evans, Buck's fast. Faster than any man Roy's ever met up with. This ain't the movies, Miss Evans.
I know. But there's nothing else Roy can do. Your husband has put him to a challenge. I couldn't ask him to leave town without meeting it. Anyway, Roy wouldn't do it.
Oh, Miss Evans, what are we going to do?
I have a suggestion, Mrs. Santee. If you won't think it's foolish.
What?
Would you join me in prayer?
The hour's up, Roy. You ready?
Yeah, Pat. Let's go.
Hey, you want me to cover you, Roy? This Santee may be yellow. He might have a Confederate waiting to plug you in the back.
No, Pat, I don't think he'll do that. He's too sick to play any tricks.
Sick?
Yeah, he's sick with pride. False pride. He's like Billy the Kid, Pat. Johnny Ringo and Dillinger. He's sick, and he's afraid.
Well, this is it, Roy. You gonna walk down there and meet him?
Yes, Pat, I am.
Well, I don't guess there's nothing I can say to make you change your mind.
No, there isn't.
I didn't think there was. Well, good luck, Roy.
Thanks.
Good luck, Mr. Rogers.
I hope you get him, Roy.
I see you come, Rogers.
I'm here, Santee. You sure you don't want to change your mind?
Keep walking, Rogers. I'm coming out to meet you. Get out of the way, Bud.
Mr. Santee, it's Lester. He's drowning in the rapids.
Did you hear that, Santee?
I heard.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
Ain't nothing I can do. I can't swim.
I can. You want to call this off and try to save your son?
Save him, Rogers. For God's sake, save him.
I see him.
He's too far out, Rogers. You can't swim in the rapids.
Pat!
Yeah, Roy?
Tie this rope around me.
Okay.
Roy, you'll never make it.
I'm going to ride Trigger out. I think between the two of us we can make it. How about it, Trigger?
Mr. Rogers, I'll never be able to thank you, even if you don't save him.
We'll save him, Mrs. Santee. Pat, come upstream with me. Hold on to that rope. Keep going, Trigger. That's the boy. You can make it.
Lester, I'm going to throw you a rope. If
you catch it, tie it around yourself. We'll haul you in. Okay?
Okay, Roy.
All right, then. Here goes.
I got it, Mr. Rogers. I got it.
That was a wonderful thing you did, Roy.
It sure was.
I didn't do much, Dale. It was Trigger. He really had the hard work.
Well, anyway, I guess Mrs. Santee and I had our prayers answered. Buck told her that he'd thrown his guns in the river. He's never going to wear them again.
I'm sure glad to hear that.
Yeah. He said that if he just happened to outdraw you, his boy might have drowned.
It sure is a lucky thing we came up to Tanner on a fishing trip. You know, it makes me realize all the more the Lord moves in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform.
And, folks, that's the whole story of what happened to Dale and Pat and me the time we went fishing on the River of No Return. There is a river called the River of No Return. Sometimes it's peaceful and sometimes wild and free. Love is a traveler on the river of no return, swept on forever to be lost in the stormy sea. Wailery, Wailery, I can hear the river call. No return, no return, where the roaring waters fall. Wailery, Wailery, I can hear the river call. Come to me. Wailery, Wailery, I lost my way on the river, and forever my heart will yearn. Gone, gone forever, down the river of no return.
There is a river called the river of no return.
No return.
Sometimes it's peaceful and sometimes wild and free.
No return.
Love is a traveler on the river of no return.
No return.
Swept on forever to be lost in the stormy sea.
Wailery,
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 I can hear the river call.
No return, no return,
where the roaring waters fall. Wailery,
Wailery,
I can hear the river call. Come to me.
Wailery, Wailery,
I lost my way on the river, and forever my heart will yearn. Gone, gone forever, down the river of no return. Wailery, 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 she'll never return to me. Wailery, Wailery, Wailery. Friends, when you buy a new car, you're looking for something special, aren't you? You're looking for a car you can depend on. You want a good-looking car, of course, but more than that, you want one that really comes through when the going gets rough. Well, I've told you that Dale and I have driven Dodges for a good many years. Yes, sir, and we've sure been proud of every one of them, because we've found the Dodge people make a car you can depend on, not just on smooth city streets, but out here in the West, where the dusty, bumpy roads give a car a real going over. And another thing, you want plenty of room inside a car. I know. I've got pretty long legs myself, and I need lots of room to stretch out in. That's one big reason why I'm so proud of my new Dodge. It's just a big, roomy, comfortable car. Well, that's about all I have to say, except for one thing. Remember, the big, beautiful 54 Dodge is the lowest-priced V8 in its field. That's right, friends. A Dodge V8 costs you less than any other V8 in its field. So take my advice. Drop around and see your nearby Dodge Plymouth dealer tomorrow. He'll show you a right pretty car that's really dependable. The new 54 Dodge. And if you like, take a look at some of the first choice used cars he's got on his lot right now. They're all fine cars, and they're priced especially for your pocketbook. Well, that does it for tonight, folks. See you next Thursday, same time. Until then, goodbye, good luck, and may the good Lord take a liking to you.
Happy trails with Dodge, the car that gives you more.
The Roy Rogers Radio Show is produced under the supervision of Art Rush and directed by Ralph Rose. Tonight's story was written by Ralph Rose and Charles Smith. Music arranged and conducted by Frank Worth. Production assistant, Virginia White. Tonight's all-star cast included Pat Brady, the Mellow Men, Jane Webb, Tony Barrett, Harley Bear, David Duvall, and Peter Votrian. Join us again next Thursday evening at this same time when the dependable Dodge Plymouth dealer in your neighborhood will again bring you the transcribed Roy Rogers Radio Show. This is Lou Crosby speaking for the man who sells and services Dodge job-rated trucks and the elegant new 54 Dodge.
"70 years ago, July 22nd, 1954, Roy Rogers here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Let's head to 1956, 68 years ago in a moment. William Conrad and an episode of Gunsmoke.
This is basic civil defense information from the Department of Defense, Office of Civil Defense, Washington. If our nation ever comes under nuclear attack and you take shelter to protect yourself from radioactive fallout, water is the key emergency supply. Each person will need at least a quart a day. And if there's not enough water stored in your shelter, here are additional places to find it, especially if you plan to use a home shelter where you'll be on your own. Local authorities may instruct you to turn off the main water valve. When you do this, the pipes inside the house will still be full of water. Next, turn on the faucet located at the highest point in your house to let air into the system. Then use water from the faucet located at the lowest point in your house. You can also use water in your hot water heater, in the flush tanks, or water in ice cube trays, milk, soft drinks, canned juices. If necessary, you can even drink water that's been exposed to fallout. However, very young children should be given non-contaminated liquids when available. For more information, consult your local civil defense office.
And it doesn't have to necessarily be a nuclear weapon or enemy invasion. Just any natural disaster, you need to make sure you've got water. You can live without food for a while, but water is essential. Okay, now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, going back 68 years, July 22nd, 1956, an episode of Gunsmoke starring William Conrad as Marshal Matt Dillon.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by Chesterfield. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed, thanks to Accuray. They satisfy the most.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely. You know that man, Shelby?
No. Looks like some kind of tenderfoot to me.
Who else would camp in a grove of trees, cut no water? You have a little talk with him.
He looks scared, Kringle.
Seen men look scared before. Hello, mister.
Hello?
Camped here all alone?
Yeah, scouting around for some homestead land.
Good-looking horse you got over there.
He seems to be a good horse. He's awful young.
I think I'll take a look at him.
Sure. What you men doing out here?
Oh, we just ride around. We scout for things, too.
Land?
We ain't the kind of settle down to hard work like that.
I had a little orchard back in Ohio. Raised apples.
Yeah. Yeah, apples are fine. Wished I had one now.
Hey, Kringle.
Yeah?
That there horse ain't got no brand on him.
No brand?
It washed off crossing the river.
You talking about washed off?
It did. I ain't lying.
Well, it don't matter none. Go get your rope, Shelby.
I'll get it.
What's he need a rope for?
Well, now, don't you worry about that, mister. We'll take care of everything.
What are you going to do?
I told you not to worry.
Now, look, I ain't done nothing.
Of course you ain't. We're just going to save you from all that hard work you was planning on.
No. All right, I got it, Shelby. Hurry up. Let me Stand still. Let me go, will you?
Maybe there's water in this grove, Mr. Dillon.
Well, if there is, somebody's dug a well, Chester.
Oh, you been here before?
I've passed by.
I swear I'm going to start toting me a water bag.
That's the easy way, Chester.
Bet it is.
Yeah, somebody's had a campfire here recently.
Yesterday sometime, I'd say.
Yeah. That big rain last night washed out all the prints.
It sure did. Doggone it, there's got to be a spring here somewhere. I'm going to take a look.
You're wasting your time, Chester.
I don't mind.
I never saw a man who needed the comforts of home more than he does.
Mr. Dillon! Mr. Dillon, come here, quick!
Huh?
Look.
Yeah. Lynched.
Scared me half to death. I seen him hanging there.
It isn't a very pretty sight.
There ain't no horse around. Where's his horse?
Yeah, he probably stole it. And then they caught up with him and took it back.
Who do you suppose done it?
I don't know. I don't know how we're ever going to find out. Well, come on. Let's cut him down. And get him into the ground.
Introducing one of the country's best-known jazz musicians and arrangers, Mr. Bobby Haggart. How about whistling along with him?
Packs more pleasure, packs more pleasure. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
It stands to reason a cigarette made better and packed better smokes better, tastes better. And Chesterfield is more perfectly packed by Accuray. This electronic miracle removes human error in cigarette manufacture. So Accuray Chesterfield is firm and pleasing to the lips, mild yet deeply satisfying. Yes, Chesterfield gives you something no other cigarette can give you.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
To the touch, to the taste,
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. By Chesterfield. Mild. Yet they satisfy the most.
I don't know what I'd do if I rode into a grove of trees and found a man hanging there.
Well, I hope it never happens, Kitty.
How can men do such things?
That's easy. For some men.
I hope you catch him.
I'd like to, Kitty.
Who was he, Matt?
We found an envelope on him.
Yeah.
His name was Hank Blennis.
Must have been a newcomer. I never heard of him.
Well, he wasn't wanted by the law that I know of. But I guess he was a horse thief, all right.
They wouldn't have lynched him otherwise, would they?
No.
Then why don't you find out who's had a horse stolen recently?
Well, they wouldn't likely be talking about it now, Kitty.
Well, things could be worse, Matt.
No, what do you mean?
Suppose there wasn't any law at all. Then people wouldn't even have to hide what they do. Now at least they know they're doing wrong.
Well, that doesn't seem to stop them much.
Marshal Dillon?
Yeah.
My name's Charlie Drain, Marshal. I run cattle up north on the Republican River. Happened to be in Dodge on business, and I heard about that lynching yesterday.
You know something about it, Drain?
I know I don't like it. My own pa was lynched, Marshal. A mob strung him up by mistake. I was just a boy, but I seen him do it, and it's laid in my mind ever since.
Yeah, I can understand that. But, what about this lynching?
It's a big thing with me, Marshal. I can't endure seeing no lynchers get off free.
Well, I don't like it myself, Drain.
Then you do something about it, or I will.
Now, Matt.
Maybe you better tell me what you got in mind, Drain.
A fella named Gil Mather. Got a little ranch over on Dove Creek. I've heard round and about that he's had a horse or two stole recently, and I've heard that he's talked to hanging whoever stole him. Now, it looks to me like he went and done it, Marshal.
I know Gil Mather.
Well, then maybe you better go bring him in.
Or you will, huh?
I'll see him dead. I told you how I feel about things. I ain't fooling, Marshal.
Drain, I got some advice for you.
Is that so?
Why don't you take a walk around Dodge and talk to some people, huh? You ask them what I'm like when somebody tries to crowd me. Then you go sit down somewhere and think about it. You think about it real hard.
I didn't know Gil Mather was married, Mr. Dillon.
He isn't, Chester.
Well, then who's that boy in the corral yonder feeding his horses?
That's Billy Driscoll. He works for Mather off and on.
You think Mather will fight?
I'm not arresting him, Chester. I got no evidence says he did it.
Well, what if he admits it?
And it's not often a man admits to a crime, Chester.
Guess not.
Hello there, Marshal. Chester.
Oh?
How are you, Mather?
Oh, fair to middling, Marshal. What brings you out here?
I was told that you've lost some horses.
I didn't lose them, Marshal. They was stole. 3 of them now.
Any idea who's been doing it?
If I knew, there'd be a man hanging from a limb somewheres.
There was one, Mather.
Where?
About 20 miles north of here, a man called Hank Blennis.
Was he a horse thief?
Probably.
Who hung him?
Some people think maybe you did.
No, it wasn't me. But horse thieves has got to be hung, Marshal.
Mather Blennis was lynched Thursday. Where were you then?
You questioning my word, Marshal?
Where were you?
Marshal, you got any evidence, you come arrest me. Meantime, I got work to do.
Contrary, ain't he, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah.
It sure looks to me like he's hiding something.
Well, I can't arrest him for that. Come on, let's get back to town. Doc? Hey, Doc. Doc, you asleep?
Huh? Who said I was... Oh, it's you, man.
You sure don't do much to dress this town up, Doc.
Oh, what man's got a better right to sit out here and rest his eyes for a few minutes?
No?
I was up the entire night nursing old Mrs. Jackstone through a fever.
Well, maybe we ought to tie a sign on you explaining that, Doc. Folks might not understand otherwise.
No, folks can go hang. I'm here if anybody needs me.
Well, a man'd have to be mighty sick to need a doctor who looks like he's sleeping off a drunk.
Don't harp at me, Matt Dillon. From what I hear, you're not exactly distinguishing yourself at your own trade.
Well, you got me there, Doc.
Yeah, you bet your life. And since you admit it, then I won't say any more to you.
Well, good.
Even though it does kind of look bad when people can go around stringing up anybody they please, and with no interference from the law.
Yeah, well, thanks for not saying any more about it, Doc.
Oh, I'm not one to twist the knife. Now, you know that.
Oh, sure.
Marshal Dillon, I want to talk to you.
What's the trouble now, Drain?
I'm tired waiting, Marshal. Something's got to be done.
Drain, why don't you go back up to your ranch and leave all this to me, huh?
'Cause you ain't doing nothing, that's why. And you see them two men over there, Marshal?
What?
Them two standing over there.
Who are they?
One is Kringle and one is Jack Shelby. And they feel as strong as I do about all this.
All right, Drain. You don't have to go back to your ranch. I don't care where you go, but you get out of Dodge and you take your friends there with you. If I see any one of you around after sundown, I'll throw you in jail.
I take it back, joking you, Matt. You are kind of up against it.
You know, Doc, I just thought of something.
Huh? What?
That fellow Blennis was obviously a dude. He wasn't even wearing the right kind of clothes for a man who'd been out here very long. Maybe he wasn't a horse thief at all.
Then why would anybody lynch him?
Well, I'm going over to the stable, Doc. Maybe Moss Grimmick can help me.
The fellow, Marshal, that's him. That's what he looked like.
What kind of a horse was it, Moss?
A little 3-year-old bay, real young but plumb gentle. Had 4 white stockings, Marshal.
Yeah, that gives me something to go on.
There's another thing, too. That horse wasn't branded.
What?
Well, I raised him myself, and I just never got around to putting no mark on him. Except for the no good stuff I bought.
What stuff?
Oh, fellas told it to me, some kind of chemical powder. You wet it and then kind of paint your brain down with it and supposed to take the hair off. But it don't work. I tried it on another animal. It just washed right off.
And whoever's got that little bay of yours could put his own brand on him, huh?
I'm a real fool, Marshal, believing you can brand a horse rubbing a little chemical powder on him.
Well, we all get taken sometimes, Moss.
I stopped Gil Mather from getting took, though.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. He come in here the other day, asked me about it. I told him.
What day was that, Moss?
Thursday. Him and the boy, Billy Driscoll, they come to town every Thursday, Marshal. Come in early, spend the whole day. Why? Something wrong?
Hank Blennis was lynched Thursday.
Well, you wasn't thinking Gil Mather done it, was you?
Charlie Drain was, and he still is. I better go find him, Moss.
Say, where are you listening to Gunsmoke? In your car? Getting ready for dinner? Oh, I see. Just relaxing in your favorite easy chair. Well, I'd say you're in a good spot right now to really enjoy a Chesterfield. You see, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. It stands to reason. A cigarette made better and packed better smokes better, tastes better. And Chesterfield is more perfectly packed by Accuray. This electronic miracle removes human error in cigarette manufacture. So Accuray Chesterfield is firm and pleasing to the lips, mild, yet deeply satisfying. Yes, Chesterfield gives you something no other cigarette can give you.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
To the touch, to the taste, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. Buy Chesterfield. Mild, yet they satisfy the most.
I don't see nobody around at all, Mr. Dillon.
Maybe they're in the house, Chester.
Want for me to go see?
We'll tie up here by the barn first.
All right, sir. Could be Mather and the boys eating their dinner, Mr. Dillon.
At least you hope so, huh?
Well, any man gets a little hungry now and then.
Wait a minute, Chester.
Why, there's Charlie Drain.
Yeah.
They was in the barn. Them other two fellows, they must be Kringle and Shelby you told me about.
Yeah, that's them.
What are you doing out here, Marshal?
I'm looking for Gil Mather, Drain.
He ain't around.
Chester.
Yes, sir.
See if he's in the barn.
I said he ain't around, didn't I?
Go ahead, Chester.
Yes, sir.
And don't any one of you try to stop him. Now, which one of you is Kringle and which is Shelby?
I'm Kringle, he's Shelby. Why?
And it's my job to know who people are, that's all.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, now I know.
If you ask me, it's your job to punish criminals, Marshal.
You're right, Drain.
Well, you ain't been doing very good at it.
I'm kind of slow sometimes.
You're too slow.
Mr. Dillon! Mr. Dillon! They're in there. Gil Mather and the boy, both of them.
Don't stand in front of me, Chester.
They're dead. These fellows went and hung them, both of them.
Keep your hand away from that gun, Kringle.
But you can't blame me. Me nor Shelby. It was Drain's idea. He paid us to come along with him, is all.
Billy was just a kid. Why'd they have to hang him for?
So he was a kid. He was keeping mighty bad company, now wasn't he?
Drain, both the boy and Gil Mather were in Dodge the day Hank Blennis was lynched.
Are you sure of that?
There are witnesses.
I don't want no more part of this. Come on, Shelby.
Hold it, Kringle.
Well, you ain't stopping me, Marshal.
Is that your bay horse over there? With the 4 white stockings?
What about it?
It's pretty smart of you to lynch a man rather than shoot him when you go to steal his horse.
What are you saying, Marshal?
They hung Blennis, Drain. I guess they figured helping you with Mather and the boy would put everybody off their track.
So they lynched him. They done it. Why, you dirty dogs!
Why, he killed him. He killed both of them.
Sure, I killed them. They had it coming now, didn't they?
Give me that gun, Drain. I said give it to him.
Lynchers. All the time there was nothing but a couple of dirty lynchers.
He's crazy, Mr.
I
Dillon.
hate them.
What do you think you just did in the barn there, Drain?
I made a mistake. I can't help that. I only wish I could have hung these two. They deserved it. Just like them fellas that lynched my pa.
I ain't never seen a man so mixed up.
I hate lynching.
Sometimes a man can hate too much, Drain. Sometimes it can twist him till he gets where he doesn't really belong.
I don't know what you mean.
Hell, it doesn't matter now. Not anymore.
In a moment, our star, William Conrad. When you shop for those last-minute vacation items, don't forget to pick up a couple of cartons of Chesterfields. You'll find it mighty convenient to have a carton or two along in your suitcase. Or, if you're driving, right in the glove compartment. Chesterfield packs more pleasure, more vacation pleasure, because it's more perfectly packed. So buy Chesterfields. Buy them by the carton. Mild, yet they satisfy the most.
You know, on the frontier, bullets cost 8 cents apiece, so they were seldom wasted. But next week, it's a stray bullet that kills a man. And that was the West. Good night.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Our story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Vic Perrin, Harry Bartell, Lawrence Dobkin, John Daner, Jack Moyles, and James Nusser. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty.
Live modern. Smoke L&M.
Live modern. Change to L&M.
Yes, have an L&M. No other cigarette you can buy, plain or filter, gives you the full, exciting flavor you get through the pure white L&M Miracle Tip. Through the modern Miracle Tip, L&M tastes richer, smokes cleaner, draws easier. So light up, free up, let your taste come alive. Live modern. Smoke L&M.
Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke.
From Sunday, July 22nd, 1956, Gunsmoke here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A couple of the stories in the papers of that Sunday. A federal grand jury charged former Illinois State Auditor Orville E. Hodge and 2 others with conspiracy and misapplication of $872,000 in bank funds with intent to defraud the state of Illinois. A Senate subcommittee said the Eisenhower administration's employee security program has brought about entire confusion, positive injustice to hundreds of employees, and political mudslinging. President Eisenhower, confessing he hasn't much strength and admitting to a slight pain in his abdomen, joined yesterday in a round of ceremonial functions at the Hemisphere President's Conference in Panama. An offhand remark by the president that "I haven't much strength, but I keep going" appeared likely to stoke Democrat discussion of the health issue in the developing political campaign. Senate yesterday passed a bill to extend for a year the World War II Veterans Home Loan Guarantee Program, under which almost 5 million loans have already been made. Australian Prime Minister Robert G. Menzies of Australia flew into New York from London yesterday for a visit to the U.S. and Canada. And white-robed Ku Klux Klansmen burned a large cross and vowed to maintain segregation last night, while a few miles away, a Negro church offered prayers for the KKK in Lakeland, Florida. Those are just a few of the day's stories. Oh, one other story. David Thiels unwrapped his motor vehicle license plate, and on the paper separating them found a note from a convict at the state penitentiary in Nebraska, where the plates are made. It read, "You are sure lucky to be on the outside getting these instead of making them." Those are a few of the day's news stories from Sunday, July 22nd, 1956. Up next, Raymond Burr, Fort Laramie, from 68 years ago today.
What's with the basket, Mom? Picnic?
Nope, this is Grandma's pantry, modern version.
Great, Mom. Only what's it for?
Civil defense. And you're the one who brought the idea home from scout meeting. Here, help me check off the list. Fruit juice?
Yup.
Powdered milk?
Right.
Canned meats?
Into civil defense comes Grandma's Pantry, the symbol of preparedness. Unexpected company? Grandma always had plenty for everyone.
No matter what unexpected disaster, your family should have a 7-day supply of food on hand, kept well protected in jars or tins, and safe in a shelter area.
In an emergency or during evacuation in case of enemy attack, it's too late to plan. You will have to depend on your own resources, on Grandma's Pantry.
Assure the future. Know the 6 steps to survival. Make this year your family's year for civil defense. You take the first step.
Civil defense, an American tradition.
Be prepared whether it is nuclear attack or supply chain shortages, any of that thing. Be prepared. CivilDefenseMuseum.org. Now, Raymond Burr, Fort Laramie, 68 years ago, July 22nd, 1956, the return of Spotted Tail.
At the gallop! Ho!
Fort Laramie. Fort Laramie, starring Raymond Burr as Captain Lee Quince. Specially transcribed tales of the dark and tragic ground of the wild frontier. The saga of fighting men who rode the rim of empire. And the dramatic story of Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry.
Gorse. Right below me, I see him. Wait. He's looking up this way. All right. Now.
You gonna leave him here, Captain?
Better hide him. No sense announcing ourselves to Fleet Bear. That ravine down there is choked with brush anyway.
Yes, sir.
Easy now.
Them brulee Sioux grow big, don't they?
Yeah, this one did.
Maybe too big to sit a horse. That's why they had him stuck up here on lookout duty.
Maybe. All right. This spot's good enough.
Best pile some of this brush over him. Don't want him finding him right off.
At least it was quick killing. Beats Fleet Bear's way.
Kind of evens the score on that woman we found all staked out.
You can't even scores like that, Gorse. Well, now we can watch this powwow without being interrupted.
Yeah, we got the best seat in the house, Captain. As long as we're the only ones that knows it.
That's no war party down there. Too many lodges, teepees. Fleet Bear must be using this for his permanent camp.
All his raids lately have been within striking distance of here.
Yeah, those drums, they aren't war drums either. More like a celebration of some kind.
He's got a lot of killing to celebrate.
Yeah. I wish we had the men. We'd stop his killing right now.
They sure don't look like they're expecting any trouble.
Must be a couple thousand down there, Gorse. Half of them warriors. We got 60 men from B Company. They're not going to have any trouble from us.
Fleet Bear, is he really Spotted Tail's son?
The old man looks on him like a son, but he's a nephew, I think, no more than that.
Don't seem like they're the same breed of men. I never heard of Spotted Tail killing wholesale, stealing women.
He could roam free when he was a young brave. This was all Sioux country. No white settlers, no white army. That'd make a difference.
Sure would.
Ever think what you'd do, Gorse? Say you were Fleet Bear and the intruders came into your hunting grounds?
That's one of my troubles. I know blame well what I'd do. That's not excusing what they do to women.
That's not excusing anything. But it makes you wonder where men like Spotted Tail get their courage. Anyway, I call it courage. Agreeing to give up your land, signing treaties, moving on to a reservation.
You call that courage. What do you call what we're doing? Two of us sitting up on the rim of a canyon looking down on a couple thousand hostiles?
I wouldn't call this courage. It's more stupid than anything.
I'm getting kind of tired of them drums.
Well, we can report a big powwow, the makings of a feast, but we sure can't tell the Major what they're celebrating. Unless...
Unless what?
Unless you want to slide down there and ask Fleet Bear what all the commotion's about.
Like I said, I'm getting kind of tired of them drums.
Well, that being the case, we better get back to our own camp.
Captain Quince, sir?
Mr. Syberts?
I hope it was successful reconnaissance, sir.
I hope so, too. We'll talk about it.
I'll see to the horses, Captain.
Right, Sergeant.
Oh, Captain, there's a runner here from Major Daggett. I think we have new orders.
Don't you know?
The packet's got your name on it.
You were in charge of the camp while I was gone.
I know that.
How long's he been here?
Since early this morning. I knew you'd be back before...
Mr. Syberts, we found Fleet Bear's main camp. 2,000 Brule Sioux, half of them warriors, along the Bighorn, about 25 miles north of here.
That near?
We had to kill a lookout so we could stay long enough to get a good look. Might have been the other way around, Mr. Syberts. He might have seen us first.
Next time, when orders come, I'll open them, Captain.
Right.
Oh, he's in your tent, sir.
Well, come on in, Mr. Syberts.
Oh, Captain Quince, sir. Orders from Major Daggett, sir.
As you were, Trooper. When'd you leave Fort Laramie?
Noon yesterday, sir.
Any sleep since then?
No, sir. Well, except just now. I was beginning to doze off.
Well, go find yourself a place to sleep. Some food if you need it.
Thank you, Captain. Lieutenant Sybert saw to that. Will you be sending me back, sir?
Not without a rest. We'll find you when we need you.
Yes, sir.
I don't believe this.
What is it, sir?
The Major says Spotted Tail's beginning to move. Scout reports indicate he's moving his whole tribe off the reservation.
Well, that is hard to believe.
I'd have to see it first. Hand me that map case, will you?
Yes, sir. Well, where's he supposed to be now?
We'll have to figure that. Ordinarily, his lodges are set up along here, Pleasant Valley Creek. Rosebud Agency in the Black Hills. Let's see. This report was a day getting to us. 2 days before that, getting to the Major.
Which way is he traveling, Captain?
This way.
Toward us, on the Bighorn?
That's what the report says.
Wonder why.
I don't know why, but we're going to get the chance to find out. We're supposed to go after him.
He's still in Indian country. We can't keep him from moving around if he wants to.
Spotted Tail's supposed to stay at the Rosebud Agency, Mr. Syberts. If he's going to move around, he's supposed to ask permission.
You're not calling this a treaty violation?
I'm not calling it anything.
Yes, sir, but the Major...
The Major wants to know why Spotted Tail's moving. He has the right to know.
Yes, sir, I suppose he does.
This gonna go hard with you, seeing Spotted Tail again?
No, sir.
I want you to be sure about that, Mr. Syberts.
I'm sure. It doesn't take Spotted Tail to remind me of his daughter, Captain. Not with her grave at Fort Laramie.
Yeah.
And even if Ahuapa's grave weren't there, I'd remember.
I'll be doing some map work tonight, Mr. Syberts. I could use a hand.
Yes, sir.
Tell Sergeant Gorst to pass the word. We'll break camp at dawn.
Right, Captain. Oh, what about the runner?
You can start back to the fort when we break camp. No needing him starting earlier. He needs the rest.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Mr. Seibertz.
Yes, sir?
Spotted Tail's my friend. All I want to do is talk to him.
This must have been their camp, Captain.
It's likely. I wish I didn't think it was.
How's that, sir?
Look, all along here.
Wagon tracks, only deeper.
Lodge poles. They make that kind of mark, dragging behind ponies. Campsite this big, ponies trailing lodge poles. That's gotta mean Spotted Tail's moving his whole tribe.
You can't understand.
There's no understanding unless we can talk to him. At the rate he's moving, that might not be too easy.
Captain, Spotted Tail's like Red Cloud. He believes in the treaty table. He's always kept the peace.
Well, something's got his dander up.
I guess he wouldn't go off the reservation without a good reason.
It's the way he's going off that bothers me.
How do you mean?
Well, he could have moved up north in the Dakota Territory. Could have cut off a corner of Wyoming, gone up to Montana country. There are lots of ways he could have left if getting off the reservation was what he had in mind.
Well, from the Black Hills to the Little Powder, he's taking the long way, all right.
It'd be a direct way if you were heading for the Bighorn and Fleet Bear.
You don't think that, Captain?
I don't want to. Could be some trouble in the Black Hills drove him out, but this looks more deliberate to me.
You think we can catch up with him?
Not standing here, Mr. Seibertz. Sergeant!
Yo!
Pass the word. Prepare to mount and move out.
Prepare to mount.
Captain, if he were heading for Fleet Bear, then what?
That'd be something I'd want to find out from Spotted Tail, Mr. Seibertz.
I've been here since the treaty, Captain. I never saw anything like it.
They, been gone about 3 hours, you say?
Just about. Talk about folding tents and silently stealing away. I read that in the book once.
Yeah, I read the same book.
You're going to wait here for a reply, ain't you?
I haven't much choice.
Is that what you want me to say to the Major?
Just put down I'm waiting for orders.
All right. Yes, sir. When I bedded down last night, I was the only one on Rawhide Creek, far as I knew. Woke up this morning, got a whole Indian village sitting at my front door.
Yeah, you told me.
Yep. Fires going, squaws stirring up pots of food, papooses squalling, and darned if some of the braves went fishing right out there in the Rawhide. That don't happen to me every morning, Captain.
Papooses squalling?
Yeah. The funny thing about that, no matter what color hide the young'uns got, when they squall, they all sound the same.
How long do you think it'll take to get an answer?
That'd be more up to your Major than to me.
You're quite a philosopher, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. It comes from having time to think. Alone a lot, you know. Once in a while, some of you soldier boys or someone from the Indian agents, if they get lost toting the mail, they come by. But like I say, I've been here since the treaty, and I never saw anything like this.
Talk about folding tents and silently stealing away.
Oh, yeah, you read that book too, didn't you? Well, sir, I no sooner got used to them cooking and squalling, fishing, they was gone. Like 1 minute they was there, and then right away they wasn't. Like I say,
Not
I've been
3
here
times you're not going to say it.
Oh, right. All right. You think they got wind you was trailing them?
I think they did.
Well, sir, I won't say it again, but I'll tell you, it left its mark on me. It sure did that.
You get anything for me, I'll be outside.
Oh, say, Captain.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got a couple of poles. Any of you soldiers want to get some good fishing?
Thanks very much. Maybe next time.
Captain Quince?
Yeah?
Up on the bluff.
Yeah.
He wouldn't come back to make a stand, Captain.
I don't think so. We'd have more than we could handle if he did.
The runner's coming down under a flag, sir.
See the men hold their fire, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. Hold your fire. Hold your fire.
Like as not, he wants a powwow.
White Captain, I come from Spotted Tail.
You have a message?
Spotted Tail say, you come, White Army stay. You come alone.
Up on the bluff?
Spotted Tail meet White Captain at trees by water. Like White Captain, Spotted Tail come alone.
Get my horse, Mr. Syberts.
Right away, Captain.
And, Mr. Syberts, while I'm gone, orders may come from Major Daggett.
I'll receive them, sir.
Good.
Corporal, the captain's horse.
You may tell your chief I will meet him at the trees by the water.
Spotted Tail send White Captain ring to show good faith.
Tell your chief I know him to be a man of good faith. Tell him to keep his ring.
As you say, White Captain.
Greetings, Spotted Tail.
White Captain.
You are from Fort Laramie. I know your face.
It's been a long time since we've met, Spotted Tail. Many moons.
I came to you then in sorrow to put only daughter, Ahuapa, in white man's burial grounds.
I remember.
She spoke of love for white man. You?
No. Not me, Spotted Tail, a young officer. He's with me back there at the station.
The place of her burial. It is still honored among you?
She was our friend, as you are. Friendship is always honored.
The words are well spoken. I, too, speak of honor, White Captain. You follow me, do you?
Yes, for 2 days now.
It is honor for a friend to track a friend?
I wanted to talk with you.
To talk or to make questions?
Questions and answers make talk, Spotted Tail.
By terms of treaty, White Army not belong in land of Indian. From Bighorn Mountains to Black Hills, all land north of river which flows by your fort. All this Indian hunting ground.
By terms of treaty, Spotted Tail belongs on the agency called Rosebud, not in the valley of the Little Powder, or on the bluffs above Rawhide Creek.
This is why you follow me?
This is why.
If I say my people want new hunting grounds, what does White Captain say to that?
I say you left the best hunting grounds in the West when you left the Black Hills.
See? We do not wear the paint of war. Our mission is one of peace.
I believe you do not want war, Spotted Tail.
When red men go to war, all who see can tell he plans war. The headdress, the paint of war, all who look can see. The White Army wears same face at treaty table as on field of battle. Only White Army knows when White Army plans war.
The White Army plans no war against Spotted Tail.
You are only White Army who follows?
I think this is so.
I ask what you know, not what you think.
I can only tell you what I think. As far as I know, we are the only White Army to follow Spotted Tail.
My scouts count you small. I am told 60 soldiers of White Father.
That's no war party, Spotted Tail. You are moving all your people. Many times, my 60 soldiers. All your lodges have been moved. Squaws, papooses, your old people, as well as your warriors.
I have told you, our mission is one of peace.
To leave the reservation without permission of the White Father is to break the spirit of the treaty.
No words in treaty say Spotted Tail must ask White Father to breathe. This is the land of my fathers. On it we hunt, fish, live, and breathe.
Do you consider the Valley of the Bighorn the land of your fathers?
My fathers have counseled there many times. Have yours?
No.
Then it is more the land of my fathers than yours, White Captain.
The Bighorn River lies beyond the treaty limits, Spotted Tail. If you go there, you break the treaty.
I speak to you of peace, and you reply of breaking treaties. It is you who first talks of the Valley of the Bighorn, not Spotted Tail.
Do you go to Fleet Bear?
You know the son of my brother?
I have seen his camp on the Bighorn. I have seen his killing. He does much harm.
He is young and has the feel of a warrior. I have seen the killing of young white warriors. 3 burial grounds of Sioux squaws and papooses stood once near your Fort Laramie.
I know that.
So, there is no good left in talk, White Captain. The sun moves, and Spotted Tail moves with it. One last time I say to you, I speak with truth and honor. Our mission is one of peace. If you follow me, White Captain, I cannot be sure of the peace. Hurrah!
You do any good at your powwow, Captain?
Well, he's going to Fleet Bear. I know he is.
Will he tell you that?
He told me everything but that. But that's where he's heading.
Well, they've moved off the bluff. They must be going on.
Yeah. He told me they would.
Are we going after him?
If we do, we start a war. He told me that, too. Now, where's Mr. Seiberts?
In the telegrapher station. No orders, Captain. We're supposed to return to Fort Laramie.
And the Major's made my decision for me. Following Spotted Tail might not be the best move now, and this isn't a complete message, Mr. Seiberts.
I know, sir. The telegrapher says the line must have been cut between here and Fort Laramie.
Return to garrison immediately. Fleet Bear has... That's all it says. Fleet Bear is what?
I don't know, sir. But it does say to return. That's the important part.
I wonder if it is, Mr. Seiberts.
You're convinced he was going to Fleet Bear?
I'm convinced, but that doesn't do much good now.
Captain, you can't help what's happened. Fleet Bear's been asking for a fight for a long time. Major Little came across the same encampment you did, only he had enough men to lead a charge.
My orders were reconnaissance.
I know that.
And I didn't know Major Little and 3 companies of cavalry and 2 of infantry were this side of California.
Major Little's not in my command. I didn't know either.
Tell that to Spotted Tail.
Spotted Tail's an old chief. He knew any renegades were open to attack.
It was a quiet little scene, Major. Spotted Tail and me into the trees by a stream, talking peace and honor.
You didn't kill Fleet Bear, Captain.
Spotted Tail was talking to the White Army when he talked to me. He told me his mission was peaceful. I told him mine was no war party. We believed each other.
Well, you were right. Yours was no war party.
His wasn't either. They could have wiped us out right there at the Rawhide. Spotted Tail is going to figure that he was talking peace with one white man while another attacked and killed his nephew.
You say you're convinced Spotted Tail was going to Fleet Bear. To join him?
I think it was more likely the other way around. To persuade Fleet Bear to join him on the reservation.
But you don't know that.
I don't know that, but I know Spotted Tail. He signed the treaty. He's kept it.
That remains to be seen.
Major, Captain, outside the post gate, Spotted Tail and his whole tribe.
Well, we don't want any trouble. We'll meet him outside the gates. show great courage, Spotted Tail, riding up to the gates of Fort Laramie without first sending a runner.
I have sent runner before to speak to White Army. I have sent him with a ring to show good faith.
That was before, Major, when we met on the Rawhide.
I am now come to White Army with no faith.
We didn't break faith with you, Spotted Tail, and we broke none with Fleet Bear.
The words faith, courage, honor come easy to the tongue for white man. Have no meaning to Spotted Tail unless they are words of the heart.
Fleet Bear broke faith with us by his killing. I told you that when we powwowed.
There was not yet faith in him to break. White man has killed not only Fleet Bear, but the faith that was not yet born in him.
Is that why you were going to him?
I have seen much good in treaty and council. Fleet Bear Young had not seen this.
You think he would have listened to you, Spotted Tail?
We will not know that answer now. You have made his ears forever deaf to the words of his father's brother. I can say what is in my heart, and in my heart I believe he would have listened.
Why do you believe that? You tried to talk to him before?
You told me you saw his camp on the Bighorn. If you saw and knew what you saw, then you know he planned a feast of celebration.
That's what I saw, Major.
A feast for his father's brother, Spotted Tail. We do not make feast and talk war. That is not our way.
We can't be sorry for Fleet Bear, but we will count it a loss to lose your friendship, Spotted Tail.
You have lost more than that. I am an old man. My friendship has not long to last. But the young braves, they will live on and remember. You have lost the hope in their hearts for peace and honor.
Is that why you've come here? To tell us that?
No. I come only for what is mine. The remains of my daughter, Ahoapa.
She was buried in our cemetery at her request, Spotted Tail. Her grave here at Fort Laramie has been honored.
I am yet her father. She will return to the land of her people. She lived in peace. She will rest now and forever in the peace her father understands.
Captain, help him any way you can.
You can help me?
Just one way for now, Spotted Tail. I can lead you to her grave.
Fort Laramie is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and stars Raymond Burr as Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry, with Vic Perrin as Sergeant Gorse. The script was specially written for Fort Laramie by Kathleen Height, with sound patterns by Bill James and Ray Kemper. Musical supervision by Amerigo Marino. Featured in the cast were Ralph Moody, John Daner, Tim Graham, and Lou Krugman. Jack Moyles is Major Daggett, and Harry Bartell is Lieutenant Seiberts.
Company, attention! Dismiss.
Next week, another transcribed story of the Northwest frontier and the troopers who fought under Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry. Are your neighbors talking about action yet? Well, if they aren't, perhaps it's because they're not yet aware of the practical plan for preventing and eliminating slums that has been set up by Action, the American Council to Improve Our Neighborhoods. If your friends and neighbors are interested already, CBS Radio urges you to join their efforts to keep your community from running down. But if a slum fighting program has not been organized where you live,
why not write to Action, Box 20, New York 19, for a free leaflet that explains what can be done to prevent your neighborhood from falling into disrepair. That's Action, Box 20, New York 19.
From 68 years ago, Sunday, July 22nd, 1956, Fort Laramie here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. More drama tomorrow. Bob Bailey, Virginia Gregg would Let George Do It. I Was a Communist for the FBI. Also, Mr. President, starring Edward Arnold. We'll also have an episode of People Are Funny, starring Art Linkletter, and another episode of Superman. That's all coming up on our tomorrow's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox podcast. And then on the following day, we will have Chase and Sanborn Hour, A Life in Your Hands, American Portrait, and Lumet Abner. Coming up next, though, we stay with crime. The FBI in Peace and War, also from Sunday, July 22nd, 1956.
This is Dennis James. Civil defense preparedness is important to all of us living in today's nuclear age. For information on the importance of first aid training in protecting your home and family, here is a message from Leo A. Hoig, Director of the Office of Civil and Defense Mobilization.
First aid training can prepare you to meet emergencies quickly when time is precious. If we are ever attacked, medically trained personnel will be busy aiding the desperately ill and injured. Your first aid training could save the life of a member of your family, a friend, a neighbor. You can't always count on someone else helping. Will you know what to do? Take the first step today. Enroll in a Red Cross first aid course. Knowledge of first aid is good common sense and good civil defense. Be sure you are prepared for any emergency.
First aid training important, whether it's enemy attack, whether it's natural disaster, or for any occasion. Learn about first aid training by checking with your local community offices or go to civildefensemuseum.com. Now, from 68 years ago, Frederick L. Collins' book adapted to a radio play, The FBI in Peace and War, from 68 years ago Sunday, July 22nd, 1956.
The FBI in Peace and War. Another great story based on Frederick L. Collins' copyrighted book, The FBI in Peace and War. Drama, thrills, action. Tonight's transcribed story, Return Trip.
Johnny,
Yes, sir.
I wonder what you think of me.
I think you're just fine.
I mean, picking you up at the roadhouse that way and asking you to take me for a ride.
Well, what's wrong with it?
Well, they say nice girls don't do things like that.
Well, you're nice enough for me.
You mean that, Johnny?
Mm-hmm. You're okay.
I'm going to tell you something, Johnny. I work at that roadhouse.
So?
Well, what I'm trying to say is it's my job to steer customers to the bar and keep them drinking. I get a percentage.
Well, look, everybody has to make a living.
You're awful nice about it.
You told me the truth. That's more than most people do.
You know something, Johnny?
What?
The minute you walked into that place, I liked you.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh. There's something different about you.
Oh, I'm the same as anybody
No,
else.
you're different. I mean, different than most of the men that come in there. You talk different, you act different, you keep your hands to yourself, you don't say fresh things.
Hey, now, look, don't get me wrong. I'm no angel.
Well, you'll do till one comes along. Oh, listen to me talking like that, like I was a high school girl or something silly, huh?
You don't feel silly, do you?
Uh-uh. What are we stopping for?
Oh, we need a little gas.
Yes, mister?
Fill it up, huh?
Sure, mister.
What's the matter? It's not filled already, is it?
Well, it's this confounded pump. We've been having trouble with it all day. Something wrong with the switch in the office. I got to keep adjusting it. I'll be with you in a minute. Sheriff, this is Harry Wagner. Fellow just drove up here in a car. I stalled him. I got him outside waiting. I happened to spot the license plate, and it's on the list of stolen cars you give me. Blue Buick convertible, 1955 model. The license number is K54.
Put that phone down.
I
knew you were up to something. Now put it down.
Sheriff, he's here in the office. Sheriff.
Shut up.
I saw what happened. You killed him. Why?
Shut up. I said shut up, or you'll get the same thing.
In the early fall of 1955, the Bureau had assigned Agent Reynolds and me to investigate a series of interstate auto thefts in the Michigan-Illinois area. The going was difficult for us. We had only a vague description of the thief, and there was no set pattern to his method of operation.
Steve, listen to this. It just came in from the sheriff of Walden County.
The report from Sheriff Gaines led to our first concrete lead in the case.
The gas station operator died on the way to the hospital. Ann Radin, the girl in the stolen car, was found in a ditch 20 miles from the gas station, beaten and hysterical.
Agent Reynolds and I interviewed Ann Radin at the hospital as soon as she was well enough to talk.
I thought he was different than any other man I ever met. What a chump I was. Thought I knew all about men. He taught me things I never knew.
You said he was about 6 feet tall, blue eyes, blonde, even features.
He was good looking, all right. Could he talk smooth?
Now, about the beating he gave you.
Made a mess of me, didn't he?
The doctor said you'd be all right.
Yeah, sure, but how long will it take? I gotta make a living. All I got is my face. It's not much, but it's all I got.
He beat you to keep you quiet.
So I wouldn't talk, he said. But I'm talking all right, aren't I?
And after he got through, he took your money.
Money's bad enough, but he took the ring, too.
Ring?
Well, a long time ago, there was a nice guy, a really nice guy. Johnny reminded me of him. I guess that's why I took to him so fast. Well, this nice guy and I, we were engaged, and he gave me the ring. We were going to get married when he came back from Korea. He never came back.
Miss Radin, we'd like a description of the ring.
It had our initials engraved on the inside.
His initials?
LB.
And the type of stone?
It was a real diamond. No imitation, genuine blue-white. But that's not why I'll miss it. You understand?
Our knowledge of the physical appearance of the auto thief and now killer was more exact, but still of not too much practical use. It seemed apparent that he was short of funds, so we concentrated on locating him through the diamond ring.
So it's another ring, Johnny.
Well, that's a real diamond.
Okay, so what?
Oh, come on, Bert. You can do better than 100.
125 because you're a friend.
Any hock shop will give me 200.
So why don't you take it to a hock shop yourself?
Well, I would. Only I'm in a hurry. I can't wait till tomorrow morning.
What's the big hurry, Johnny?
Well, I gotta get home.
Family business?
Yeah.
From all you told me, you and that big shot brother of yours are on the outs.
Look, make it 150. Will you, Bert?
You're going home because you're in a jam.
All right.
Because you figure that's the best place to hide, that hometown of yours.
All right, if it makes you any happier to know it. Now, what do you say, 150?
125, Johnny. Leave it or take it and you're on your way home.
It's so good having you back home, Johnny.
It's good to be back, Carol.
Your brother must be happy.
Oh, Frank doesn't know yet.
What?
Well, I got off the train and came straight to you. Is that all right?
You know it is. Oh, Frank will be so happy to see you.
We're talking about us now.
Johnny,
Mm-hmm.
why did you stop writing to me?
Well, you've got an explanation coming, I guess.
When you didn't answer my letters, I thought you wanted to forget.
I did, Carol. I wanted you to forget about me.
Johnny!
I thought it'd be best for you. I wanted to write to you, believe me, the worst way, but I stuck to my guns, and it wasn't easy lying in that Army hospital.
Hospital? Frank didn't tell me.
Well, I didn't let him know either. We were on maneuvers in Japan. A shell went off right near where I was standing. They patched me up over there and then shipped me back to the States. The Army doctors figured I'd never walk again.
Oh, Johnny, if you'd let me know.
Well, it turned out those Army sawbones were all wrong. I'm okay now, as good as ever.
Oh, it must have been terrible for you alone in that hospital.
Look, Carol, I'd rather not talk about it.
Of course. You're back, and that's all that counts.
Yeah. Well, same old town, huh?
Mhm.
Same old one-horse town.
But it's comfortable.
Yeah. That's just what I was thinking when I got off the train. Comfortable and cozy and safe. Well, Frank, I'm back home.
Yes, you're back.
What kind of a reception is that? I didn't expect you to hang out the flags or hire a band.
How long are you staying?
What?
When are you planning to leave, Johnny?
Leave? I just got here, Frank. Well, you make it sound like you want to get rid of me fast.
I do.
Well,
I'm sorry you came back.
Well, isn't that a nice reception? Yeah, that's swell. That's a great way for a brother to talk. My very own flesh and blood brother. 3 years in the Army, and I come home to hear you talk like that. Sure, that's real swell.
You can stop the act, Johnny. We don't have to kid ourselves. I know all about you.
What do you mean? Know what?
I protected you while Mom was alive. Every time you did something mean and nasty and low, I covered up for you because I didn't want her to be hurt. But that's all over now.
You said you knew something. What?
I found out what happened to you in the Army.
Huh?
When you didn't write to me or Carol, I made inquiries. You were in an Army prison.
Oh, that. A guardhouse. Well, what's that? A lot of guys get shoved into the guardhouse. Well, you just look at the brass the wrong way and bang, they slap you in. Anyway, you're not a real soldier unless you put a little time in the guardhouse. Ask any GI.
2 years isn't a little time. And you were put there for stealing Army equipment and selling.
Oh, they had it all wrong. But try to get a break in a court-martial with all that brass against you. Well, you're guilty before you even open your mouth.
You're lying, and you're wasting your breath and my time. You'll never change, and the faster you leave town, the better.
The better for you. That's what you want to say, isn't it? My clearing out is going to make it better for you.
Look, if it's money you want...
Oh, so now you're trying to buy me off. Well, maybe I'll let you buy me at my price.
Johnny,
Oh,
listen.
no, you listen to me. You know, you're not fooling me, Frank. All that big talk about protecting me for Mom's sake. You're not kidding me one bit. Sure, you protected me. You got me out of scrapes. But you did it for your own sake, not for anybody else.
That isn't true, and you know
I
it.
know one thing, Frank. You wanted to be a big shot in this town. You didn't want anything to spoil your chances. Whatever you did for yourself only.
You're wrong.
Am I? Well, you're Frank Faber, a respected member of the community. Everybody likes Frank. He's a big man at the local bank, a big man in local politics. Why, he's president of the Rotary Club at 25. The youngest one they ever elected. Frank Faber, a man of good reputation. That's what you were protecting all along. Yourself. Your own reputation.
Get out of here.
Hit you where it hurts, didn't I?
Johnny, I want you to leave now.
No, I'm hanging around. Maybe for just a while.
Johnny.
Maybe for the rest of my life. The old town looks awful good to me right now, Frank. Yep, maybe I'll settle down and become a pillar of the community myself, like my big brother Frank. Yeah, and maybe I'll get myself a respectable wife, like Carol.
Now, look, she's a nice girl. She doesn't know what you are. I won't let you do that to
Oh,
her.
you won't, huh? What are you going to do, Frank? Tell her about me? What a perfect louse I am? Not you. You won't tell Carol. You won't tell anybody. Right. So that's it, Frank. I'm staying right here in Appleton, and there's nothing you can do about it. Absolutely nothing.
Back to Return Trip in just a moment.
You know, many great men have attained the highest office in our land, the presidency of the United States. Can you guess the name of this man? He was one of the most successful of our presidents and added more territory to our nation than any other president except Thomas Jefferson. In 1825, he was elected to the first of his 7 terms in Congress. As president, he determined to carry out 4 important measures: a reduction of the tariff, the independent treasury, the settling of the Oregon boundary, and the acquisition of California. All 4 of these measures were successful. If you don't have his name by now, here are 2 more clues. His administration saw the introduction of postage stamps and the establishment of the Naval Academy at Annapolis. Who was he? James K. Polk, 11th President of the United States. His life is part of your American heritage.
And now, Act 2 of tonight's story, Return Trip.
All available facilities of the Bureau and those of local law enforcement agencies were pressed into use in our efforts to trace the diamond ring which the killer had stolen from Ann Raden. Agent Reynolds and I set up field headquarters at the Chicago office. On the 15th of September, just 2 weeks after the murder, we received a promising report from the Detroit police.
The ring was located in a Detroit pawn shop, Steve. Here's a rundown on the man who pawned it.
The man's name was Bert Hauser. It was obvious from the description supplied us that Hauser was not the suspect. However, we requested the local police to keep Hauser under surveillance until we arrived there for questioning. In the meanwhile, of course unknown to us at the time, the murderer was in a nearby state, enjoying the comforts of home.
I'll be by there to pick you up at 8.
Fine, Carol. I'll be waiting. I'll see you later, honey. Hello, Frank. Where are your manners? I said hello.
You're staying here against my wishes. I can't make you leave, but that doesn't mean I have to talk to you.
One big happy family. Oh, by the way, Frank, I'm running short again. I could use some more money.
How much this time?
Look, you're getting off cheap.
How much?
Well, 50 will do. Like you said, Carol's a nice girl, so I've got to take her out in real nice style. 50 will cover it this time.
All right, Hauser, let's try it once more. You pawned this ring.
Sure, I admit it. I'd be a sucker not to tell the truth to the FBI.
And you got the ring where?
Like I told you, at Larry's Bar and Grill on 12th Street.
From a stranger, you said.
Just like I said, this here guy comes up to me at the bar. He gives me this here hard luck story of how his wife walked out on him with all he had, except by mistake she left that there ring.
That's what you told us the first time.
Well, why should I change my story when it's the truth?
A stranger.
Never saw him before in my life.
Short and dark.
Dark and short, like I said. Look, he happened to have an honest face. I believed the story. How was I to know the ring was hot?
Who told you it was hot?
Well, I figured it must be. Otherwise, why would the FBI be asking me questions, huh?
You're sticking to that story?
Absolutely. Lying to the FBI is a sucker's game.
Protecting a murderer is even more of a sucker's game, Hauser.
What?
Particularly when the penalty is so steep.
You said murderer?
Makes a difference, huh?
Wow. Murder, that's something else.
We can forget about that first story now, huh, Hauser?
You won't hold it against me, will you?
Well, let's say you just walked in, sat down, and we're starting from scratch.
Thanks.
His name?
Johnny Faber.
About 6 feet, blonde, blue eyes.
That's Johnny, all right. Now, look, he didn't tell me where he got the ring. He just said he needed some money fast, and I gave him $125 for it.
Why did he need the money fast?
I'm just going to tell you about that. He said he was in some kind of a jam, and he wanted to go home. He said he figured home was the best place for him.
And where's home?
His small town in Ohio, a place called Appleton. He's got a brother there who's a big shot.
Anything else, Hauser?
That's all I know, so help me. Like I said, Johnny was going home so he could play it safe.
Johnny, this is the happiest day of my life.
Perfect, huh?
Oh, I'll never forget it as long as I live.
Hey, you make it sound like our last.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. It's just that it was almost too good to be true.
Oh, it was true, all right. As true as you and I are getting married next month.
Johnny, did you really like the house?
Whatever you want, Carol, I'm for it 100%.
I love you so much.
Why not? I'm absolutely the best husband material in the county. When are you going to tell your father and mother?
Well, I hinted at it last night.
Okay.
Well, you know how my father feels about you and your brother.
Yeah. Yeah, being Frank Faber's brother will get you anything in this town.
Oh, he's a wonderful man.
Oh, sure. Highly regarded by one and all.
There's nothing to be ashamed of, Johnny, being Frank's brother.
I didn't say it was. I just want to stand on my own 2 feet and be liked because I'm me. Be important because I'm Johnny Faber, not because I'm Frank's brother.
You'll do fine, Johnny. In time, you'll be just as important around here as Frank.
You bet I will. Well, I'll be back to pick you up at 8, right?
Uh-huh. Johnny?
Yeah.
Have you told Frank about us?
I was planning on telling him tonight.
Oh, I hope he's pleased.
Well, why shouldn't he be? He thinks you're the nicest girl in Appleton. As a matter of fact, he thinks you're even too nice for me.
Johnny?
Well, home kind of early, aren't you?
I want to talk to you.
Oh, now, don't tell me you're going soft and brotherly.
This is something very important to both of
It'll
us.
keep
Not
till
this.
after the news I got for you. You can wish me luck, Frank. Carol and I are getting married. And, oh, yes, I expect a nice wedding gift from you. You know, something real nice.
Johnny, you're diseased.
What?
Diseased. Sick.
Who, me? What are you talking about? I never felt better in my life. I'm getting married. Didn't you hear me? I feel great.
You're sick and incurable.
Now, look.
I'll tell you something. I was ashamed to have the thought going around in my mind, but I couldn't help it, and I had to be honest with myself.
What thought? What are you talking about?
The night you left here for the Army, I prayed that you wouldn't come back. Ever. I guess it was a terrible thing for a brother to wish, but that's what I prayed for.
That's too bad you're disappointed. But I'm going to be around here for a long time. I've got big plans. And my big shot brother is going to help them all come true, whether he likes it or not.
I imagined you were capable of anything but that. Murder.
What?
My own brother, a killer.
How do you know? Who told you?
Killing, shooting a man down in cold blood.
How did you find out? Who told you?
They're outside waiting for you.
What?
Agents of the FBI.
FBI?
They've come for you, Johnny. Those men across the street, that's who they are, FBI.
You told them I'd be back.
Yes.
You didn't even try to warn me. You didn't even try to help.
I'm helping you now, Johnny. I told them you'd give yourself up.
Oh, you did, huh?
Without a struggle. If they'd give you a chance, I told them you'd walk out of here and give yourself up.
Well, you couldn't be more wrong. They're not taking me.
Now, Johnny, listen
I'm
to
getting
me.
out of this.
Listen, please, just this once. They've arranged to give you 5 minutes to walk out.
Well, you know what they can do with those 5 minutes? Not a chance, huh? Well, I'll show them and you. I'll get out if I have to shoot my way out. I'll make it my own.
The gun isn't in your room anymore. What? I have it right here. After I talked to them, I looked in your room and I found this in the closet.
Give me that gun.
No, Johnny, for once in your life, you're doing the right thing.
Give it to me.
Stay where you are.
Frank.
Stop, Johnny. If you come any closer...
Come on, hand it over.
Johnny, please, please don't come any nearer.
Come on.
Johnny, please, now don't make me fire, please.
Fire? Fire? You haven't got the guts.
Johnny, don't make me, please, don't make...
No guts. What? Frank.
Oh, Johnny, I had to, believe me, for your own good. I had to do it.
Agent Reynolds and I entered the Faber home just a moment after the gunshot. Johnny Faber was rushed to a hospital where he later recovered from the bullet wound. His brother, Frank, was subsequently cleared of a charge of attempted manslaughter. When sufficiently well enough, Johnny Faber was extradited to the state in which he had committed the murder. He was tried, received capital punishment, and finally was escorted down the prison corridor to the green door from which there is no return trip.
In tonight's transcribed story, Larry Haynes played the part of Johnny Faber. Eric Dressler was Frank Faber. This radio dramatization for the FBI in Peace and War was written by Ed Adamson. These programs are produced and directed by Betty Mandeville. All names and characters used on the program are fictitious. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. This program is based upon Frederick L. Collins' copyrighted book, The FBI in Peace and War, and the broadcast does not imply endorsement, authorization, or approval by the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
An Armed Forces Radio Network recording of the FBI in Peace and War here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next, something much sweeter, an episode of Claudia.
If you are planning a new building, the architect can make inexpensive changes in his design to shield against the dangers of radioactive fallout. This technique is called design slanting, which simply means designing for added fallout protection without adversely affecting the use, appearance, or cost of a building. To learn more about slanting, contact your local civil defense director. If you are planning a new building, the architect can make inexpensive changes in his design to shield against the dangers of radioactive fallout. This technique is called design slanting, which simply means designing for added fallout protection without adversely affecting the use, appearance, or cost of a building. To learn more about slanting, contact your local civil defense director.
I want to talk just a moment about civildefensemuseum.org. The link we have, .com, civildefensemuseum.com. The link we have below has a couple of designs for fallout shelters. They have guidelines for development of an emergency fallout shelter stocking plan. They also have lists of supplies that you need for a shelter. And they have a number of other documents there that might be more entertaining than interesting, or than stuff you might really need for the building or construction of a fallout shelter. But I think the information would be good to have, particularly if you are at all interested in the history of the nuclear war. The threatened nuclear war, I should say. Let's get away from war, shall we? That's why I mentioned civildefensemuseum.com. If you're interested in building your own shelter, there's lots of information there. Now, let us get to something happier before we got into the Cold War. Claudia, from 76 years ago, July 22nd, 1948, in the case of the Phantom House Cleaner.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia, based on the famous play and novels by Rose Franken. Brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
Mom, I wish you wouldn't work so hard.
I like that, Dummy. Gives me a nice, satisfactory feeling.
I also wish you'd let me help.
I had the baby weeks ago.
Not even 3, so sit still. Besides, you're more of a help doing nothing.
Whee! The telephone. I can answer it, can't I?
That'll give you a nice satisfactory feeling.
Oh, I wonder who it is.
Why do we always have to go through that?
You better turn off the vacuum, Mama.
Oh, all right.
Hello? Yes, she's here. It's for you, Mama.
You don't have to sound so disappointed. Well, give it to me.
I just don't know who it is.
I can find out for myself. Hello? Yes, this is Mrs. Brown. Oh, I see. I see.
Mama, who is it?
All right, I will if I can. Yes.
Yes, what?
Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
Well?
Aunt Louisa's maid. She's taken sick.
The maid?
Claudia, Aunt Louisa. She asked for me to come right over.
Oh, I bet she's crying wolf again.
Claudia, a little respect.
Oh, I respect Aunt Louisa a lot. I think it's wonderful she's lived to be so old. It's certainly no fault of hers.
I hope she'll live to be a good many years older.
I suppose you do have some kind of feeling towards her, seeing she's my father's only sister, but otherwise she's not your type. Too many allergies, Mama.
One of them on the loose right now.
Are they inheritable? I'd hate to think of my son having...
More than your faults.
That's a relief.
Well, I suppose I'd better go. I hate to leave the house in the middle of cleaning it.
Your tidy soul will survive, Mama. Go on, get out, Scott. Go see Aunt Louisa or your conscience will pang.
Maybe I can finish cleaning the living room first.
Hey, you better hurry. She might be better before you get there.
And I was going to clean up the kitchen, too. It's a worse mess.
So it's a mess. Who cares? I don't.
I do, but I guess I'd better go. I'll be back as soon as I can and finish then.
Don't hurry. Here's your hat.
Thanks. Claudia, just one warning.
Yeah.
If I find the house any cleaner or neater when I come back, if I find that you have lifted one finger, I shall be furious. And I mean it.
Won't lift even one pinky.
Why don't you take a nap? Your son is.
Me nap? What for?
What for do you think? Now, Claudia, I am serious.
Oh, Burr, so am I.
I'll be back at the latest in time to get dinner ready.
I am tired of being treated like an orchid.
You look more like a ragweed.
Thank
now,
you.
remember, I want to find things in just as much of a mess. And take that mischief out of your eye.
I won't touch a thing.
Good.
So quiet. Oh, sleep, 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 sleep. It's contagious. I hate sleeping. Good. Mrs. Brown's residence? Oh, it's only you. I was using my party voice. Hello, David. No, Mama's not here. She's gone out. No, I'm not doing anything. Mama says I shouldn't do a thing. Oh, you're as bad as Mama. I promise, I promise, I promise. Oh, David, I forgot something. I love you. Most of all. Oh, and Bobby sends his love. All right, I'll pull his ear for you. Goodbye. A book. Suppose I could read a book. Just look at this place. Oh, wonderful. Oh, Bertha. How'd you know I was wishing for somebody to talk to?
You are a mother now, but you are not changed so fast. Hello, Mrs. Norton.
My, you're looking wonderful today. Come in, come in, come in.
I come to call on young Mr. Norton.
Young Mr. Norton will be very happy to see you. Take off your hat.
No. For young Mr. Norton, I keep on the hat.
Bobby's in the bedroom. Just 2 minutes ago, he asked me when he was going to see you again.
So?
Yes.
But then I have come at the right time.
There's only one thing the matter with the time, Bertha.
Is something wrong?
Mama had to go out and David isn't home yet.
Oh.
They'll be furious with themselves when they've heard you've been here.
They will live.
The baby gained 1/2 pound. How's Fritz?
Fritz is fine.
Good.
1/2 pound?
Yeah.
Oh, such a big boy. Pretty soon he's taller than you.
Oh, I hope he'll be.
It goes so fast, Mrs. Norton.
Oh.
One day my Lisa, she was a little baby, and now I'm a grandmother.
Yes, it goes very fast. Sometimes I can't bear to hear the clock ticking.
But when it goes slow, that's not good. Better it should seem fast. Now, my hat is on straight. We go in.
Oh, you don't have to tiptoe. He doesn't wake up for anything.
Oh, that's a good sign. The baby should not care for anything except to sleep and eat for a year.
A year? Well, he's a vegetable.
Just so.
Ah,
I see him.
So warm, I haven't bothered to put any blankets over him.
Oh, he's gotten so large.
Look, he can't bend his legs. They're so fat.
Can't straighten them out either.
Just like what I thought.
What is?
He will look like his father.
Oh, you better not tell David that. If he thinks there's any resemblance between him and this sleeping vegetable, he'll be furious.
Furious outside, but inside smiling.
You can pick him up if you like.
No. Oh, he stay here. Lieblich Kind. What a little fellow you are.
We like him. Sometimes I look at him and I can't believe he's mine. I feel like a mother, and yet I don't feel like a mother.
You are a mother. Tip to toes, you will never forget.
You bet I won't. Well, it's awfully warm in here. Why don't we go sit in the living room?
Yeah, but I only stay a moment.
Oh, Bertha, don't rush away. You'll hurt my feelings. I think you really didn't come to see me.
Well, I didn't.
You don't have to be so blunt about it.
Mrs. Brown, she is well.
She's fine, but she's working too hard. She won't let me do a thing around the house. Minerva's away for a vacation, so you'll just have to forgive the mess around here.
Oh, it's not such a mess, but I think now the baby has seen me, I take off my hat.
Good, then you're going to stay a while.
And now I go into the kitchen.
You stay where you are. You're company.
Oh, but I'm not used to just sitting around. I go into the kitchen.
Bertha, don't go in there. There are a million things around.
Well, it's not so bad. When I first had the baby, my house was much worse.
You probably didn't have any mama around.
I was not so lucky.
Bertha, what are you doing, rolling up your sleeves?
Yeah, rolling up my sleeves.
But what for?
Here, now, where is a big pot?
Bertha, what are you doing?
Nothing. I boil these few little baby things.
But, Bertha, that's not what you're here for.
It's a nice surprise for me.
Oh, Bertha, come inside. For heaven's sake, sit down.
Now, while we're waiting for the things to boil up, you have the vegetables for dinner.
Oh, yes, they're in the ice box, but you're not to have anything to do with them.
Oh, nice pot roast. Good. I fix it with a nice gravy.
Bertha, you're a terrible guest. All you do is work, 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 work. You work at home, you go visiting, you work again.
It is nothing. I like to do this. I forget how just to sit in a chair and drink a cup of tea, and I like to help
But you're not helping. You're doing everything yourself.
If I don't mind, you do not mind. And I don't mind.
Well, this is certainly wonderful of you. I feel like a nincompoop.
It's a nice piece of meat.
Maybe I should make a goulash.
Goulash. You have carrots, onions, potatoes, parsley, celery. Yeah. I make a good Hungarian goulash. Mr. Norton, he will like it.
He will love it. Oh, Bertha, we're really lost without you.
Oh, no, but I like you to say it.
I can't wait till David and Mama come home and find everything all cleaned up. Dinner's all ready, the baby with his bottle, and me sitting on the sofa like Lady Beard.
Hey, Claudia. Claudia, anybody home?
David, you're home at last.
At last, little mother. Well, you're looking very fresh and rested.
I am.
Sitting there on the sofa with a book in your hand.
Oh, I'm not reading. It's just a stage prop.
Oh.
I want you to notice I have been relaxing.
Whew, it's good to be home. Hot as blazes downtown.
Oh, take off your coat, darling.
I'll take a shower in a minute. How's the youngster?
The young man is fine. He's been asking for you. He's all bathed. He's had a 6 o'clock bottle, so he's through eating for another few hours.
Good. Say, I thought you said this apartment was a mess. It doesn't look a mess to me.
Doesn't it?
No.
I should hope not.
I hope you haven't been cleaning up.
Oh, no. I've been relaxing. Oh, that must be Mama. Mama, must that be you?
It must be.
Welcome into your house, Mrs. Brown.
Sorry I'm late, but Aunt Louisa...
how is the old girl?
No wonder Claudia has no manners. The old girl is not so well. It was a slight heart attack.
Oh, dear.
Well, what do you know?
I'm very glad I went. Well, now I'll get dinner on. We'll have to have scrambled eggs. It's so late.
Oh, don't bother, Mama.
I suppose it's going to cook all by itself. I'll put the roast in the oven, and I'll make some iced tea.
Oh, iced tea. I'd like to bathe in it. What a day.
I don't know why everybody's so warm. I'm cool as a pickle.
Claudia, what have you done?
I haven't done anything, Mama.
David, will you come in here a moment, please?
Coming, Mother.
Why is everybody going in the kitchen? Why doesn't anybody stay with me?
David, look at this kitchen.
Well, I'll be. It's immaculate.
When I left it, it wasn't.
What is that wonderful smell that's cooking on the stove?
Goulash.
What goulash? Onions.
Wait till I give her a piece of my mind. Claudia, look me in the eye.
Which one, Mama?
Both. I thought you promised me...
I'll take care of her, Mother. Claudia, have you no better sense than to wax the floor on a day like this?
Oh, is the floor waxed too?
You must have been in that kitchen for hours. The baby clothes all washed, the bottles boiled, dinner on.
It was a nothing.
A nothing. Why, it would have taken me all day to do all that work.
Oh, you're slow, Mama. When a person's efficient, it just gets done as if by itself. Aren't you going to congratulate me?
I am not. I'm going to take you over my knee and spank you.
David, I
You
love
have
you.
no more sense than you were born with.
It's not sense, it's system that counts.
It's not system, it's good, hard elbow grease.
And look at this living room, Mother. Vacuumed, the tables polished.
And the windowsills washed. I don't understand it after she promised me, David. I give up.
I am so talented, Mama gives up.
Yes, you are. I'll admit it.
Thanks, Mama.
Mrs. Norton, if I ever catch you acting so foolish again...
Aren't you proud of me at all?
Not at all. Not impressed, either.
Oh.
She doesn't look tired, David.
I don't care how she looks. She has no sense.
Well, you
I'd
never
be
thought I
exhausted
had.
if I had done all she had.
Not if you'd done it the way I did, Mama.
Sometimes the duties of a homemaker are lighter in summertime, but often they're even heavier. More laundry to do or get done, more dirt tracked into the house. Cooking's much more uncomfortable in the heat. Lady, you deserve the pause that refreshes. Why don't you take time out right now for a bottle of delicious, ice-cold Coca-Cola?
Oh, Mr. King, young Master Norton is a sweet baby, isn't he?
We think he is.
I'm so glad it turned out so well.
He's a good baby, too. Hardly cries.
He's still very young. There's time.
I know what you mean.
The Nortons should go back to the farm. It's very warm in New York for the baby, too.
If you think it's warm today, Bertha, wait till tomorrow. The weatherman predicts a real sizzler.
Another hot day?
And how hot exactly, you'll find out tomorrow. Till then, so long, Bertha. Nice to have seen you.
Well, same with me. Goodbye, Mr. King.
As I was about to say, every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. And ice-cold Coca-Cola is everywhere. This broadcast of Claudia was supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney.
Catherine Barden does a lovely job as Claudia, doesn't she? 76 years ago, July 22nd, 1948, Claudia here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for being with us on this Monday. On our Tuesday program, we'll have, as I said earlier, Let George Do It. I Was a Communist for the FBI, Mr. President, People Are Funny, and Superman. And then on Wednesday, we will have the Chase and Sanborn Hour with Spencer Tracy as a guest, an episode of our A Life in Your Hands, American Portrait, and Lum and Abner. And then we'll go past that to Thursday for a moment. Why don't we? With an episode of a summer series entitled Satan's Waitin'. Also Counter Spy, Escape, the Nelson Olmsted Playhouse, and more Superman. So don't go far. Remember that we're here each and every day with a new podcast. If you don't like one thing, I'm sure you'll like something else. Have yourself a great Monday. We'll see you on Tuesday for more Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.